Caner Universe, it's Caner Tip Tuesday. And today, listen, we're still in that Sobrevivencia series, which, by the way, a lot of you have asked about the pronunciation of Sobrevivencia. And given that you're too busy to figure that out and practice it, you have permission to just refer to it as SV, S as in Sam, V as in Victor. So on this series, this is what you need to know first and have an understanding of, if you really like SV and you like the material, so that everything else makes sense moving forward. Otherwise, you're going to have a lot of questions as to the why. But this is what you need to know first. A warm welcome to those of you who are here for the first time, as well as faithful followers of the Cane Fist Way. Avail yourself. If you haven't done this already, why haven't you done this? You have, before we do anything else, if you like the content, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the little bell icon so that you don't miss any future content. And then go ahead and text the letter CCC to 305-745-7839. That's for your cane clarity call. We'll have a conversation, listen to where you are in terms of your cane training, answer any questions regarding the cane culture so that you have a plan that you can actually put into place. Doesn't cost you a penny, and you're going to get it done right from the onset. It's going to save you a lot of time and frustration and funds too, because you don't need to invest in most things. The other thing is, there is a private Facebook group called Cane Flow. Look at the description, request entry. They will let you right in. So what is it that you need to understand first? And that's the following. Follow me here. If you are a combative, if you have a combative training and it's primarily in a striking strategy, like you're a boxer or you're a martial artist in strike, in order for you to be effective, you need to be in the striking range. If you happen to be a grappler, you got to get your hands on somebody. You got to close that gap. If you're a judo a practitioner, in order to get that throw, in order to strangulate, take them to the floor. Same thing happens with a tool. If you're using a knife, well, that knife, the use of that knife is up close. You can't do it at a distance. What if you have that cane? You might be thinking, well, for me to be effective, I need to be at striking distance. And the goal is to go ahead and strike. And if you're an ACSD student, you might say things like, hey, to incapacitate, to get in. And to an extent, you're correct. When it comes to SV, it's a little bit different here. Follow me here, okay? And that is, the goal of SV is not to strike people with the cane. It's not to lock people up. It's not to get in. Those are all strategies. The main goal in SV is to not engage. And so for those of you, you might just turn this off right here and say, well, this is boring. No, I'm going to give you a visual of what that looks like and what the problem or where the challenge lies. But if you're a violent individual, who wants to hit and strike, and well, there's a lot of that out there. I'm not your guy, and SV is not for you. For the rest of you, you're still with me here, then listen closely. There's a series of tactics and strategies that go to that end. You have to dial back to how it was born in the first place. At a time of adversity, right, under oppression, under, we're coming to get you today and we're going to escort you and you're going, and does it make sense there when you are outnumbered and the people who are coming to get you are armed, for the government? Does it make sense for you to, get all rowdy and fight? Maestro Ruiz is always very clear on, don't engage in battles, that you're not going to win. It makes no sense for you to do that. And so that's the first thing. So there's a series of strategies, from verbal skills to distractions to baiting, that are designed to water everything down and just not have to engage. No contest, if you will. Everything else is what happens when the other party insists on forcing you to do something against your will, or they're coming to, obviously, to do harm to you or to your family. And that's where it all begins. And so think of it in terms of, you have a problem, this is how you would go about it. this is what comes next, and then so on and so forth. So kind of like a checklist, right? So listen, if we can't water this whole thing, if we can't just walk out of here unscathed, what's the next, the best thing? Well, now we're playing the distance game. And I want you to take a look at something without anything. In order for Vanessa to strike, so she has her hands up, my range, and the first thing you need to understand is that everything in SV is treated as if the individual had a weapon in their hand. It was sticks that, right, multiple assailants with something that looks like this, probably about this length. So everything gets treated like that, including empty hand attacks. Why? Because if you can maintain a safe distance against a tool, you can keep it empty hand as well, right? So if from here, she can try to throw punches, she can try to throw kicks. I'm all good here. If she moves towards me, stop, and I come out here, look at where my initial movement was. It's towards her, and I very specifically chose, she happens to move forward. Right now, she's with her right foot forward. I happen to move out here, cane away from, guarding that cane, which is one of the principles, stay where you are. But I want you to understand, if I fumble that, and I move to this side in here with the cane, I'm still inside. Look at how close she is and how quickly she can get there. So where she's at, I chose to move out here. Look at the distance now. There's greater distance. She's going to turn and have to track, and I'm just not there. So I want you, especially those of you ACSD, and you think of cane flow and you think of the footwork, think of this moving when you're walking the cones that looks like the dance. It reminds me of the cartoon Sylvester the Cat boxing the kangaroo. And just sit still so I can hit you, will you? And that's why it starts becoming so frustrating. If you continue to have the better positioning in your distance, now, in order for her to get to where I am, she's going to have to, well, let's see. If you want to get in here, you're going to have to now do what? She's going to have to turn, pivot, and just rush me, or she's going to have to lunge, or she's going to, in other words, she's going to have to reach. Now, if you start doing that, you're playing right into the hands of SV. And so it's crucial that you understand that every attack is treated as if there was a weapon in hand. That's why against the empty hand, you'll see a lot of this. Well, you say hammer fist. Well, who attacks with a hammer fist? Well, it's a hammer fist. If she's coming down to strike you, it's in that same motion. So just keep that in mind. And then whether it's something like this, where we're keeping right that distance to come in, she gets rid of that. Maybe, remember, the cane had to have been close in. She's coming in with a tackle, let's say, or something close to that, right, where he can keep it nice and close and have the rotational pivots. Maybe it is that knife that's coming in, and you know you're off onto the to move in and come inside. Roundhouse strike, whether you're always treating it with as if it were an armed attack, keeps you at a safer distance. What if they break right through? And this was something that this is actually one of the situations that was taken into place, because if you're like this and you have individuals here, as I've demonstrated before, now you can't bring that cane up here because there's somebody here. Can't even come around here. But what can you do is keep that tool close to your body, right? So that when I'm in here, I can turn and bring it over and then right back down, and see what that does as you bring it tight, close and around, coming around the clavicle and then coming up and pressing down, right? It starts affecting everything here and throwing her off, right? So that you can create that space and come in. So when you understand that it's a game, number one, there's a hierarchy. The first thing, I don't want to have to engage. And to that end, there's a set of tactics. Now, everything else in SV is what happens when you can't have that conversation. You can't have that confluence, that thing where we can agree on something. One of the strategies that Maestro Ruiz shared with me is one of the things he discovered real quick is that if he was proactive in going to the training sites and visiting, well, then they back off and they don't harass you as much. So that in and of itself was a strategy. The other side of that, obviously, was sharing something that was really watered down. And that's a whole nother topic altogether. But that, just to give you an idea, that from there then you have the movements, right, that flow essentially a two-handed cane system. And that'll be the topic of future segments here. If you like it, again, go ahead, feel free to comment. We're going to have a unique opportunity to get this, to do this in September 19th through the 22nd, Fall Cane Immersion 2023. It'll be the level 1 certification, an outstanding opportunity, unique opportunity, special opportunity to learn it straight from the founder of the system. And if you have an interest in that, go ahead and text Fall 2023 to 305-745-7839. People asking, well, you know, how many spots? Don't. Right now, you have 6 months, and it is filling up faster than any of our other immersions. We're about a third of the way full there now. I'm talking to Maestro Ruiz, talking to some of the instructors, because we always keep that ratio, that 6-to-1 ratio for your best experience. Even if we're in an oversized ballroom, we never let it get to capacity. And we're going to do this one right out of the headquarters, and you know, we're not going to make it like it's been in years past. That's number one. The rest of you that are listening to this say, I'm never going to get out there to Miami to go ahead and do that. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to text the letters CCC to 305-745-7839, because learning how to get trained, everyone who ever got anywhere in ACSD with this tool, there is always a conversation. If you're not willing to ask questions, to have a conversation, to listen how to get it done, this again clearly is not for you. It's not for you. The rest of you, go ahead, and I'm always very upfront about that. Go ahead and text, and in less than 24 hours, we'll be on the phone with you and learning how we can serve you best. I'm Joe Robaina for American Cane Self-Defense and SV. Easier to say, right? SV. Thanks for watching. Keep caning. Stay safe.